what City Hall thinks is important and what the population thinks is important. And that applies especially true to the immigrant community. And we're going to hear a lot of ideas here today, but I think what I want to do is harness the power of the internet to harness the intellectual capital that we have in Calgary. We can understand what the challenges are, but we don't necessarily have the right solutions until we get the green light, until we get the input, until we get the ideas from those people that are living those challenges. So I advocate utilizing the internet for greater cooperation, not 20,000 people. How about 100,000 people come forward and tell us their ideas on how we're going to solve some of the challenges for immigrants, like job skills, like translations, like getting around in this great city. That's how we're going to build a great city together. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron. The next name is Mr. Craig Burrows.
Hey, my name is Craig Burrows. I think there's really 3 points here to bring effective civic engagement. 1 is respect, 2 is safety, and 3 is effective communication. Now, what do I mean by respect? I say once you're in Calgary, it doesn't matter if you're a citizen of Calgary or a citizen of the world or a citizen of Canada. You are a citizen of Calgary. And we're all citizens of Calgary. You should all be proud of that. The second thing is safety. You know, one thing as a police commissioner, trying to bring people in, especially around policing issues, because the bottom line is to help embrace engagement. We need people in immigrant communities to come forward and be part of our police service, be part of the safety, so we understand your cultures, how you can help us, especially with things like domestic violence, so it's not silent. Third thing I want to talk about is the communication. The reality is, Rick has targeted the communication department to cut it. I think we need to put some more money into it for communicating with people. That's why I would like to see the 311 service expand, so people who speak Punjabi or someone who speaks Chinese can effectively communicate their concerns, especially for seniors.
The next respondent is Mr. Nenshi.
This is the single most important issue of this campaign. How do we move from one-way communication in City Hall to authentic two-way dialogue, grown-up conversations with all Calgarians? Calgarians are not apathetic. Calgarians are engaged, excited, and willing to make change in their communities. What they have is a City Hall, however, that is completely non-responsive. And I'm thrilled that on this campaign, we've been able to really break through that. I want to give you a little example. I went to an open house about the Martindale extension of the LRT in the community of Martindale. It was at 7 o'clock in the evening at the school. There was no Punjabi translation, there was no Punjabi literature available, and there were no Punjabi people there in the community of Martindale. Simple answer. Why didn't we do that open house at the Gurdwara on a Sunday after services and talk to 1,500 people who actually live in the neighborhood? You know, these are the kinds of things that are common sense that we have to move forward in. We have to hit all citizens where they live, whether that's online, on their iPhones, or at the Gurdwara. We've got to make that change.
The next respondent will be Barb Higgins.
I think it's very important for the city to commit to establish this relationship as soon as people arrive in our city. And this goes back to that welcoming mentality. I think it's important for the council to commit to create a municipal immigration policy. And I know that there is work being done on that and that the report is supposed to be out in January. I think it's very important for the mayor and council to commit to that. And so that the relationship, if you create a sort of welcoming program for people who move here, this relationship is established the moment people arrive here. Why are we waiting until people are in a community and running into trouble and then we send in the police? As was shared with me in the Sudanese community, they have been begging for help and no one is responding. So I think it's time, I agree with Mr. Nenshi, people are online and everything, but new immigrants are not necessarily online. People arrive, they have limited resources, we need to reach out to them.
1800, 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, became in 1950s. It's a federal issue. It has nothing to do with the city of Calgary or any other municipality. It's their rule and law. They create the rules and laws. Why is this issue even addressed? I find it interesting how we create, it's called sort of illusions, where we have to answer questions and the questions don't mean nothing. Let's get back to asking proper questions. What will address the city here in Calgary? The main issues are transportation, homelessness, crime. Are we going to pick a mayor that knows what he's talking about? I lived here since 1952 and had a business since 1961. I was at City Hall going there for 20 years. They kicked me out, and that's why I know what's going on. That's why they don't like me.
Thank you, Mr. Fett. The next respondent will be Rick Carver.
Thank you. Well, this is the issue that actually inspired me to get into politics, or at least one of those is when civic engagement thing, when community that I was in tried to talk to the city and we were told, you don't actually have any input here, we're just letting you know. And folks, that is the attitude that we have to make sure changes. I can tell you that talking to several immigrant communities, the several that are here, I know the Sedan lost boys and girls when they got here are trying to make connections with the city of Calgary and with other people. And you know what? One of the reasons I want to slow down on the communication budget, because it doesn't communicate. It's actually a block between the city and the citizens. I want to talk directly to citizens. The things that I've learned that make me capable and the best qualified here to be your mayor is I've been listening to you Calgarians for the last 9 years. And I have to say, I sat in at the 911 center the other night, it's amazing what you learn. Like I say, one of the commitments I'll make as mayor is sitting in at the 311 center once a month, so we can actually hear what real Calgarians have to say about real issues.
Thank you, Mr. Carver. Wayne Stewart is our final respondent on this question.
Doesn't seem to matter whether I'm last in the alphabetical order. You've heard a lot of talk tonight about internet, the use of the internet to gauge what Calgarians are thinking. I have a different approach. I like to sit down face to face with people, watch their body language, understand the nuances of what they're saying. And I don't think whether we rely on the Immigrant Sector Council, which is doing good work and needs to be strengthened, or whether we rely on councils of citizens that we end up constructing. I don't think anything replaces sitting down across the table from people of your communities or any community and hearing exactly what is going on, what the concerns are, and also what the ideas are of how we can make this city better. I commit to sitting down face to face. We'll use the internet for a proper purpose, but not let it replace face-to-face conversation.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Fox, we have 1 minute to respond.
Thank you. There have been some very good suggestions made here tonight, some great ideas. And what I'm going to leave you with is who's the person as mayor who could work with community the way that is envisioned here, because talk is cheap. We all know in the middle of an election campaign, people can say all sorts of things. You have to ask yourself who has a track record of results in terms of being able to establish those trusting relationships, who's been open, who's worked with community, who's worked with the key organizations to move it forward, and can do all these great things. I'll leave it with you to look at my track record as the person who has got the competency to serve in this capacity. Thank you.